What is up, Edison duelists? This is Dionysus, aka Young Puds, coming at you guys today with some more shameless, hype beast, GigaVise content. Now, before we get into the video, I just want to take a quick moment to wish a very, very happy birthday to Plastic Tube Vivo, one of the most loyal viewers to the channel. I see you commenting on almost every single video I've posted. I really appreciate that kind of support. It means a lot to me. It gives me a lot of motivation to keep cranking out those videos. So happy birthday to you, dog. Let's jump in to today's video. So the big thing that I am hearing a lot of people say is royal oppression seems like it just absolutely dunks on GigaVise. And folks, I'm not going to mince words with you. That is absolutely true. Royal oppression is a problem. And the fact that the Blackwing deck is so effective at using royal oppression, it's basically able to just keep on playing. Royal oppression doesn't stop Shura, it doesn't stop Vayu. So Blackwings is a huge, huge problem, mostly because it has royal oppression. So I've got two matches for you against very skilled duelists who are on the Blackwing deck. Let's see how I can handle the birds. Let's see how I can handle royal oppression. Let's jump into the game. So right here, I am going to give you a little double pop quiz right off the start. This is our opening hand. What is the first play you make with this hand? Take a second to think about it. Don't worry about the whole line. Just think about the first play. If you said Upstart Goblin, you would be wrong. You want a Foolish Burial first because you need to get that Dandelion in the graveyard to get those tokens. And since we already have one Dandelion, if we were to draw the second one off of Upstart, we would have a brick hand. Instead, we have a very, very good hand. So we're going to fire that Dandelion. We are going to get our 2 tokens. And now we can safely Upstart, see what else we get. We do get a Mirror Force, which is going to be some welcome defense. Now, part 2 of our pop quiz for today. Take a second, pause the video, find the line that you would take to make the most powerful turn 1 board. Let me show you what we do. I went Super Solar Nutrient to summon Lonefire Blossom, and then instead of using Lonefire's effect right away, I normal summon the Dandelion, use Lonefire to tribute the Dandelion, get a Gigaplant, and now I am going to get 2 more tokens for the Dandelion, and then I'm going to Giant Trunade, which is going to return the Nutrient to my hand, get rid of the Lonefire Blossom, and now I can use the SSN a second time to get the second Lonefire from my deck. At this point, I'm going to tribute it off because I always want to be playing around Shura, even if I don't know what my opponent is playing, so it's much safer to leave a token on the field instead of just leaving the Lonefire Blossom. It is just too greedy, too risky to leave a Lonefire up. And of course, I'm correct here because my opponent is playing Blackwings. So we summon the Copy Plant, copy Gigaplant's level, Synchro summon a 7 with the token to get ourselves a Power Tool Dragon. Now here, we are going to reveal 3 Supervise. So we get the guaranteed Supervise, and we are going to go ahead and equip it to the Gigaplant, fire Gigaplant's effect, and that is going to get us to our Titanial. No sense in going for a second power tool. That's just a little greedy. I think it's good to have more gas in deck in a situation like this, and we're feeling very safe because we do have that Mirror Force. So our opponent is going to draw for turn. He has a perfectly serviceable Blackwing hand. If he had been going first, let's be real, folks, we probably would have lost. But of course, he is not going first. We got to go first here. So he is just going to set the Shura and set 3. I still don't know what he's playing. We're going to try and be very cautious, play around as many things as we can. First thing we're going to do is fire the Power Tool Dragon, get some free cards while we can. We do hit the rare time where 66% does not round up to 100. While you're at it, folks, make sure water is still running downhill. I'm kind of concerned that something's broken in the universe because we did get that Mark of the Rose, but nevertheless, I digress. We are going to pop that Titanial into defense position. I'm not afraid of Goyo because I do have Mirror Force, and I am afraid of a Mirror Force from our opponent. So we're just going to attack into his Shura, And now we know he's on Blackwings. It's not even like, oh, well, it could be Vayu, it could be Blackwings. Vayu doesn't play Shura, so we know what he's playing. So now I know I need to be playing around Icarus attack. I need to be playing around a lot of real traps, but I could also think that maybe he has some sort of draw trap in the back row. So he is going to summon that Blizzard, and it sure is a good thing that I have the Mirror Force, folks, because in fact he is going to synchro summon for that Goyo Guardian and proceed right on into the battle phase and try and steal our Titanial, which would then turn on his Icarus attack in the future. We're not going to have any of that. We're just going to shut it right down with the Mirror Force. All well and good. Our opponent's going to set that Starlight Road that he drew, maybe keep us off Heavy Storm or any kind of Black Row shenanigans. We're going to fire the Power Tool Dragon to get another card for free. This time, everything's right in the universe, and 66% does round up to 100. We'll swing in for 2400. Still afraid of Mirror Force, still not wanting to commit more into it. And now our opponent is going to draw into the Sirocco, and that Sirocco will pair very well with Vayu. So we are going to see him just set the Vayu, just trying to live, really, and now it's going to be our turn. I want to keep putting pressure on him. I don't want him to just be able to just set and pass, and I will kill one thing at a turn. And I also drew into another equip, so Power Tool is no longer able to get me more advantage for free every turn. So even if he does Mirror Force here, I am perfectly okay with that. It seems like he's not choosing to use the Mirror Force. He's either holding it or he doesn't have it at this point. And I am just going to pass the turn with this handful of equips. I'm feeling very strong, very hard for him to out this board. Unfortunately for us, he does draw into the perfect out, and that is going to be Gale the Whirlwind. He's going to use that to make a level 8 Synchro, in this case Thought Ruler Archfiend, and just run right over that Titanial, gain a whole bunch of life points, and then pass it back to us. I see that Nettles in hand. I'm thinking, okay, well, now's going to be the time to commit. And he hits me with that Royal Oppression, which I was not expecting. Definitely sad to see that. That is definitely going to be a huge problem for us. Now we're going to really struggle to out the Thought Ruler Archfiend. I do go ahead and normal summon the Nettles. At this point, I'm thinking, okay, I just need to burn through his life points. So I do Synchro Summon for the Gothams just to force another 800 out and also not leave the Power Tool Dragon on board for him to gain even more life points. You know, I have the 2 Hidden Armories and the DDR and the 1 Mark of the Rose, so I'm kind of thinking, okay, how do I win this game? What is my win condition? I need to just force a million activations of the Thought Ruler Archfiend, get him to really, really low life points, at which point he's not going to have enough life to pay for Oppression, or kind of do the opposite, special summon too many times, then he's not going to have enough life to pay for Thought Ruler, and we can stick with the Mark of the Rose. So definitely a bit of an angle shoot, but at this point, you know, what choice do I have? Now he does draw into the Shura here, and he is just going to attack the token and then attack us for 27. And we are definitely living on a prayer, hoping for a powerful top deck. I'll be honest, folks, like we really need to see exactly Heavy Storm, and he does have the Starlight Road for that. Fortunately, we could negate Starlight Road with Oppression, but even so, like we are definitely in trouble here. We do draw into the Upstart, and I decide to set the Upstart. I'm thinking, okay, I just need to live one more turn, and I do miss that he has the Vayu and the Sirocco in Graveyard, so he's just going to go ahead and summon that Armed Wing and swing in for game, and that is going to be it. So Royal Oppression definitely causing us a lot of grief. Definitely a powerful card, definitely giving birds a strong edge against us in some cases. I think it also is just worth noting there that you saw that Royal Oppression, he was able to use it into an established board to help break our board. So here we're going to draw for turn, and we are going to draw a Future Fusion. This is a tech I'm testing out with a very small hero engine. I'm not sure how good it is. I don't know if I really want to be normal summoning a Stratos. That seems like something that's kind of bad, just to enable a second Foolish Burial. So jury's still out. This was actually like the first game I was testing Future Fusion in, and it just ended up being a good match. So we'll see if it becomes relevant, and then maybe that can help you guys decide for yourself if you want to try out Future Fusion. Anyways, we are just going to go for a pretty standard line here. We're going to Gold Sark the Lone Fire, and then DDR it back. And now we have the Supervise, so we are going to summon the Gigaplant, give it a Supervise, and then Gigaplant is going to bring back Lone Fire Blossom. That will make us a copy plant. I'm feeling here, because I used so many resources to get to my GigaVise combo. Here is a situation where I want to make Powerful Dragon on turn 1. It's not the easiest thing in the world for Blackwings to out, and I want to be generating an advantage. So even if the impossible happens and I miss the 66%, I'm still in an okay position getting a mark of the rose. And in fact, that is what happens. I do have the Gigaplant to pair with it, so that's feeling all right. And also, folks, I still have my normal summon because I special summoned that Lone Fire, and I didn't use a hidden armory or anything. So we're going to fire the Future Fusion. That is going to get us our 2 tokens, and then we are going to normal summon the Gigaplant to bring out a Copy Plant here. Copy Plant is going to copy Gigaplant to become level 6, and then we are going to go for a Stardust Dragon. Now I'm thinking Stardust is going to be nice here because it is going to protect us from maybe a Fossil Dyna that he might flip. If he sets a bunch of traps, like a Torrential and Icarus attack, it's going to protect us from all of that. I'm not going to have to commit to the field. I already am going to have the Stardust. But of course, as you see, he does have the brain control. This is kind of one of those tricky situations where there's some hands that our opponents could have that Stardust is going to beat, and there's others that Titanial is going to beat, and you just have to try and make the best choice you can, and unfortunately, sometimes you are going to choose wrong. So we are definitely in trouble here, folks. What is our opponent going to do? He's just going to simply fire the brain control to steal the Stardust Dragon, and then walk right over our Gigaplant. We'll take 100 points of damage, and then in main phase 2, he's going to tribute off the Stardust to put a Sirocco on field, and then set a deck Devastation Virus on top of it. We'll go back to our turn. We have our first turn on Future Fusion, so we are getting that Gaia coming in later, which could end up being relevant. And then we're going to fire the Power Tool Dragon here. This time we do not miss. We do hit that 2 out of 3. We'll fire the Upstart Goblin, see if we can get something to answer the back row. Of course we don't. It's just a Super Solar. And we are now going to try and mark the rose so we can tribute the Gigaplant and then give it a Supervise and try and win. Unfortunately for us, our opponent is going to have the DDV, so we're not going to be able to get the field presence. But the silver lining is we're going to get that Gigaplant banished, so then we can bring it back with a DDR later. Oftentimes, Mark of the Rose banishing a plant is going to be more relevant than stealing their monster. It is a really, really powerful card. It's kind of just a straight up better Snatch Steal. It's insane how searchable it is. It's insane how powerful it is. So we are going to go back to our turn, and we are going to swing in for 2300. I'm usually not too afraid of Gores in Blackwings. It just, they play too many cards that are going to conflict with it. So I'm not super, super worried about it, and I do feel safe swinging in there. Our opponent is going to set a monster and then set another card. I'm definitely thinking that this is Fossil Dyna, and of course I am correct in this case. It's game 2 or 3 versus Blackwings, so you can expect that they are going to have Fossil Dyna. And, if he had a Fossil Dyna in his hand, there's no time for him to normal summon it, so just setting it here is definitely going to be correct. It's definitely going to be an answer to my field, so I want to make sure I'm playing around Fossil Dyna. I show him the Raigeki break that I drew, and now we are going to get our future summon, bringing out the Gaia. Nothing for Gaia to steal attack from, but just being a body on board is going to be really relevant here. So we are going to reveal 3 more equips, and we do get the DDR that we were looking for, which is fantastic. And now here, instead of committing the DDR right away, I kind of want to hold that as a follow-up play, as a comeback play. I think just tribute summoning the Gigaplant is going to be our best move. The summon is allowed to stick, so now we are going to supervise bring back Titanial. I did cut a Stardust Dragon to make room for the Gaia, so I decide, okay, we're just going to be cautious. We're going to play around the Fossil Dyna, and instead of attacking right into it, because that would just be terrible for us, we would get completely blown out, we're just going to pass, and then in standby phase, we are going to Raigeki break and get rid of the Fossil Dyna that way. So that's going to keep him off of that. That's going to make us feel really good. And he does have the 2 Blizzards in hand, but no live targets for it, so our opponent is definitely feeling under a lot of pressure here. We are representing game damage on board. That Gigaplant can use its effect to summon something else to push for game. We are going to reveal the Upstart that we drew, and that is going to be it for Deck Devi. If we fired the Upstart, that would be affected by Deck Devi, but he's at such a low life point count that it's just not a concern. So here we are going to go ahead and summon a Black Rose Dragon. just to clear the field and then bring back the Gigaplant, and we still have a normal summon and we still have a DDR, so that's just going to get us the damage we need on board. Easy peasy. Our opponent does have a Starlight Road, so he could actually go ahead and try and negate Black Rose, but if he did, we would just easily be able to run over the Stardust, so it is kind of a no-win situation for him, so he will scoop it up, and we will go to game number 3. Let's see how we handle the final game of this match. So our opponent is once again going to have Royal Oppression. He's going to have Starlight Road as well, and he's going to set a Fossil Dino right off the bat. Folks, I got to tell you, I think going first into GigaVise, it's kind of just worth normal summoning the Fossil Dino. They can make a Stardust in part of their combos. They're probably going to if it's game 3 and they see a set monster. So, I think you could argue that just normal summoning the Fossil Dino here might be correct. Of course, we do have the Lightning Vortex for the punish, so maybe that's just wishful thinking on my part. And now we see why maybe Future Fusion kind of stinks. We are drawing a Neos Alias. The merit to consider is that is something that I could just normal summon and swing over Fossil Dino. So again, jury's still out on Future Fusion. I'm not convinced either way. I'm kind of leaning toward it's bad. We're going to Gold Sark here and banish a Trunade. We have a Lightning Vortex with something beautiful to discard, like a Dandelion that's going to turn on our Super Solar Nutrient. So if we just have Trunade to clear back row, we can clear any Floodgate monsters he puts up, and it's just a matter of surviving long enough to win. And we could even set the Alias if we're really desperate, but our opponent is just going to pass it back to us, and that tells me that, well, almost certainly that's got to be a Fossil Dino, otherwise he might be trying to flip it, might try and do something with it. We're going to draw a second Supervise, and I am feeling even better. I'm like, wow, hey, we've got this. A Supervise like that, we can play through everything. Here our opponent is going to see, okay, we're weak. He's realizing he's just going to have to commit, so he is going to flip summon the Fossil Dino and start pushing in for some damage with that Kalut. He's setting up a Blizzard play. If Kalut and Blizzard die, and then he uses DD Crow, he is going to be able to summon the Dark Armed if I'm able to out the Fossil Dino. So I think this is definitely a defensible play, but unfortunately for him, we do have that giant Trunade coming, so that is going to get rid of any protection that he might have, including like a Starlight Road, which would stop the Lightning Vortex. We're just going to get rid of that, say goodbye, and then Lightning Vortex to clear his field. We get our 2 tokens, and especially because we did draw that DDR, we can just very safely play through Crow. We just have the whole universe here, so I will show you the combo line that I took to find game. I went Super Solar for Lone Fire Blossom for Gigaplant equipped with Supervise, use effect to bring back Lone Fire Blossom for copy plant, and then bring out a Power Tool Dragon. He'll banish the Gigaplant, but I just don't care. I'm going to use Power Tool Dragon to get another card for free. It is the Mark of the Rose, doesn't matter. I'm going to fire the DDR to discard the Alias, summon back the Gigaplant, give it Supervise, bring back Lone Fire, tribute the other token for our Titanial, and that is game on board, and we are going to swing in for the win. So you definitely are needing your sweeper cards to answer Royal Oppression. But that's why we play Gold Sark. I didn't hard draw that Trunade. I made the brilliant tactical decision to search it with Gold Sark, and then I was just able to long enough to execute a pretty unstoppable combo. He even had interaction with Crow, and we just played right on through it. So let's go into another game. This is against 902. Who we did play against in the Forgs video. 902 is just a fantastic duelist, really, really strong. Anytime I queue up against him, I'm like, okay, we got to lock in. I could be in trouble. So he is going to open up pretty standard with a Bora, Whirlwind, and Set card. Because I do have the Judgment, I'm thinking, okay, let me just set the Judgment, and then I will try and combo next turn with my Nettled Supervised Super Solar line. I don't want to set any more than the Judgment because I want to play around Icarus attack. So unfortunately for us, our opponent is just going to draw. And seeing that it was just a fake trap, I'm like, oh, darn, we could have won last turn. But it is what it is. I think we made a defensible play, and now our opponent is going to push in very aggressively for quite a little bit of damage, or rather quite a lot of bit of damage. swinging with everything, and then he is going to set the Royal Oppression. We are going to draw for turn, and now I am feeling just dandy, just absolutely great. I have the Solemn Judgment to stop whatever he tries to do. And in fact, he is going to Royal Oppression, and we are just going to flip the Solemn and say no to that. So we are going to summon the Lone Fire Blossom, and then use its effect to summon another Lone Fire Blossom, and get a Gigaplant, give the Gigaplant the Supervise, and here we are going to get Copy Plant, and we are actually going to go ahead and Black Rose nuke the field. My life points are so low, I'm worried about him having another Kalut. I feel like he wouldn't be committing the Kalut to a board unless he had another one in his hand. Of course, you guys can see now that that is not so good of a read, but what are you going to do, folks? You know, it is what it is. I'm happy to clear his board. I'm happy to get the Whirlwind out of the way, and I do have a Gigaplant that I'm feeling like I can definitely defend between Raigeki Break, Threatening Roar, and Trap Dust Shoot. So we are just going to punch him for 2,400 points of damage, and then pass it back to our opponent, setting all 3 of our cards. And then we are going to go ahead and Dust Shoot, and unfortunately we see that he has the Brain Control as well as double Blizzard. So no matter what, he is going to be able to steal our Gigaplant and then Synchro Summon with it. And because we set everything, we can't even interrupt the Synchro Summon with a Raigeki Break. So he is going to be able to steal that Gigaplant and Synchro Summon with it, making a Colossal Fighter, which is going to be very difficult for us to out, just drawing 1 card. We do draw the Giant Trunade. That is not looking like it's going to be enough. He is going to switch the Gale into attack position, and even though he drew the MST, he doesn't care. He's just going to swing right in with everything, and even with something to discard for Raigeki Break, I can't stop all that damage, and we are going to have to go to game 2. Now, I do think, being able to side into Blackwings, and Blackwings, I think, is one of the easiest decks that you can kind of side against what they're siding against you. You feel really strong. So our opponent is going to have Royal Oppression here, so we're definitely going to have to try and find an answer to it. The Raigeki Break is looking like a pretty good answer. You know, the thing is, we do play quite a few outs to Royal Oppression. You have your main deck Trunade, you have your main deck Heavy Storm, you probably have your main deck Discard Traps, you might even have a main deck MST. If not, you definitely side the MST. You probably then have Dust Tornado and Twisters, maybe perhaps Decree as well. So there's lots of answers. It's just tricky because you also don't want to be overcommitting. You don't want to, side everything against Royal Oppression and then get blown out by something else and your opponent doesn't even see Oppression and you have a handful of Twister that just does nothing. So definitely tricky. I do like Twister against Blackwings because it can also hit their Black Whirlwind. So we're going to open up with just a fairly straightforward combo. Just Gigaplant and Titanial, nothing too fancy. We have the Raigeki Break to answer the Shura. So we'll lose the Mark of the Rose, but we're not going to have any cards for that. Anyways, our opponent is going to pass it back to us. And then we are going to draw a Dandelion for turn. I am saying, okay, that is a lot of traps, but even if he has a Torrential or something, we are just going to be able to at least get something back with the Supervise. Unfortunately for us, the or something he has is a Royal Oppression, so for just 1,600 life points, he is going to get rid of the Gigaplant and the Supervise. Now at this point, I have no cards in hand. I'm saying, okay, I just need to try and push in. I need to try and make something happen. And I'm just going to normal summon the Dandelion so I can negate like a D-Prison or anything in case he has it. If he has Mirror Force, like we lose no matter what we do. So, sometimes you just have to go for it. And here we are going to swing in for 2,800 and then pass it back to our opponent, who is going to draw an Icarus attack, which is going to offer no help against the Titanial with the Dandelion up. And of course, he's not going to be able to get that Dad live, and he is just going to scoop it up. So sometimes with Oppression, even though it can be threatening, if you have already established a board, you have to remember it's at least keeping your opponent off of Dad. So it is sometimes going to hit them just a little bit too, and that is going to be enough to win the game. So we definitely would have lost to Mirror Force in that round, but fortunately for us, our opponent didn't have it. He does have it this time. In fact, he has really nice opening here. Only thing better might be if a Black Whirlwind is involved, but that Brain Control is looming in hand as a draw trap, which I have to respect Blackwing's traps. That's why the draw traps I think are so good in Blackwing compared to everything else. So here we are going to Foolish for the Lone Fire. We're going to Mark of the Rose to test for any back row disruptors, and then also turn off Icarus attack. Our opponent is going to let it through, so I'm feeling safe enough to go ahead and DDR, discarding the Dandelion to get our 2 tokens. Here, once the tokens are summoned, we're going to use the Lone Fire Blossom, and we're going to summon out a Copy Plant. And then we're going to Copy Plant to Synchro 7 because I want that Bora off the field. I want it gone, gone, gone. I don't want to give it back to him, and I'm not feeling safe enough to push for game. So instead, we are just going to definitely get a Supervise and then attack in. So I'm thinking, okay, we just have to chew our way through some of the back row and then find our way to another Lone Fire Blossom, to an SSN, to a Miracle Fertilizer. Any of these cards are going to let us keep playing. Our opponent is going to fire the Draw Trap. He'll draw a Vayu, which he is trying to use with that Icarus. At this point, I can be pretty sure that he has Icarus, and then he's going to set another Draw Trap. We do find the Miracle Fertilizer, which is fantastic for us, but I actually choose to pass here. I think he's pretty weak. I don't think we're about to lose on the spot. And I don't want to just get blown up by Fertilizer. I also don't want to risk a 50-50 when I feel like I at least have another turn coming. So I am going to let him just swing in for 800. And then now we do draw the Super Solar Nutrient. We don't have any targets for it. And once again, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to push my luck and try and survive just one more turn. Now here, our opponent is going to fire the Draw Trap finally. He'll draw into an Allure, so he is definitely going to see some more power cards. He'll banish the Shura. He knows I'm not going to give it any food anyways. And instead, he is now ready to push in for big damage. Big damage, hitting me for 37 with that Sirocco and then the Bora. Choosing to kind of play around Gores by not pumping. You know, he wants to not give me a super big Gores token. We are going to draw into the Royal Decree, and thankfully I am now done waiting. 1, because I don't have any more time to wait, and 2, because that 1 MST is going to answer the Icarus attack. We are going to then Lightning Vortex to sweep up his field, and then we have Fertilizer into Lone Fire Blossom, into Gigaplant. We'll give that Gigaplant a Supervise. Gigaplant's effect is going to activate, bringing back our Copy Plant. Our opponent is trying to speak evil into us in the chat. I'll tell you, he says 66 rounds down, and I just tell him false because it's just not true. 66% does not round down. It does, in fact, round up. And as we can see here, we are going to reveal our 3 equips, and look at that, folks. 66% does round up to 100%. And just like that, we are going to get our Lone Fire Blossom. We are going to Lone Fire Blossom to tribute the Gigaplant to bring out Titanial, and then Supervise is going to bring back the Gigaplant, and we have 8,000 points of damage on board. Super clean, super easy victory on that turn. This was a tough match. It's always a tough match against 902. Shout out 902, definitely one of the best duelists out there. So these were our matches that we played. As you can see, Oppression is a terror. If you don't have an out to Oppression, you can lose. Oppression is even good into an established field. So if you are not a GigaVise duelist, if you're some kind of apostate or something like that, you should be playing Royal Oppression if your deck can support it. Even if it's not as good in your deck as it is against Blackwings, it is a very effective and powerful side deck card against Gigaplant. I think of like Lightsworn is actually really good at siding in Oppression. I think it's really good in there. I think it's really good in Fairies. Definitely a powerful card. So this has been Dionysus, aka Young Puds, coming at you guys with more shameless Hypebeast GigaVise content. Let me know in the comments what decks you would like to see me face off against next, any specific card matchups, any specific concepts for decks, any questions you have about the deck, definitely let me know. I know a lot of you guys are asking for a deck profile, and I do promise that is coming soon. I just want to make sure it's really good for you guys. I know it'll be worth the wait. I think you guys are really going to like what I end up cooking up for you. Also, look out for an interview coming out with Chess Prime 1, showing off their deck list from Edison World Championship Qualifier. I think that is probably the cleanest, best public deck list available for this deck. So definitely look forward to that. And otherwise, I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you guys win some matches with GigaVise. I hope you have the opportunity to show off your skill with some creative lines, and I hope you don't brick. Have a great day, everyone. This is Dionysus, aka Young Puds, signing off.